When you think of a man, what kind of properties would we give this being? Some might say dependence, some might say testosterone, some might say anger. But it's never that simple, is it? Because in our latest film, Beast, not the one with Edra Ilbis, but actually Chris Hemsworth's brother, I don't know if he's older or younger, probably older brother, Luke Hemsworth, is a retired MMA fighter who is presented with a situation that most people wouldn't even bother doing, right? This man, he's lived his life. This man, he's made some mistakes, and he's had to put in time to make up for those mistakes. So when he comes out of that place, the first thought isn't, let's go back to punching people, right? There's a sort of change, a mental shift in his narrative, right? Everything that he used to do, everything that he used to do for a living, MMA fighting, is now put aside, and he's had to live a whole 4-ish years without that sense of purpose, right? So it's becomes a interesting story of who is he now without the lights, now without the adrenaline, now without the opponent. What's left of the man that used to be? Something that I really enjoyed about this film is that while most people might just going for the, yeah, let's go with the punch, let's go with the grit, let's just get two people fighting each other and let's get the adrenaline pumping going, this film takes a second. And that's probably due to Russell Crowe being Russell Crowe, and he just has this, for those of us who don't know, Russell Crowe is the guy from Gladiator, the original Gladiator. So this guy has a history with using adrenaline to live in the ring, literally. And I guess if you put things in that perspective, some things never change. That being said, what does change, what time does to a human, you start getting older. You start getting flabbier because your testosterone levels aren't up there unless you're taking shots from some weird doctor or whatever. And you start to develop a family. If you're so lucky, if you're so fucking lucky to just go out there and meet someone who actually is, worth it, then yeah, chances are, let me fix this. Oh shit, wrong gas. You too can live a life. Fuck. There we go. Big brain. Yeah. You too can live a life of purpose, right? It's not necessarily what we do, but it is the responsibility that we receive when we have to do the job. And while it's easy to turn your back on something that is best for the family, right? You're a grown-ass man, you have children to look at, you got another one on the way, and all you really want to do is just provide for this family, to be able to say, yes, don't worry, child, I have you. We can take care of this. So it goes to show how much a man can grow from being a quote-unquote emotionless rock and bum sock puppet from UFC to generally wanting to live and generally wanting to provide a safe future, maybe alternative future for their child. But then life happens, because it wouldn't be a movie without it. And one thing that this film did very powerfully, coming from someone that comes from a bigger family, is the idea of who these people are and who the people around them kind of have to feel because of this person. And that's nothing against the main character, which is super brilliant of this film, that yes, he has a younger brother who is not doing so well. But as you get into the film, you start to understand why this brother would act out in this certain way. And of course, where caution is thrown to the wind, you're gonna get difficult consequences. And without getting too into the plot or spoiling things, because you know I really like you guys enjoying yourselves when you watch films. If you have time to watch films, please do. Is that when stuff hits the fan and a person has already committed to not falling into temptation, but then with the situation that happens, it's almost like you don't have a choice. Some might call it fate, some might call it arrogance. But what I really enjoyed about this film, and what really brought it together, is that it wasn't just the man going like, hey, it's cool, let's go fight, I'm ready to fight. But there was a conflict between the wife not wanting him to be in the battle, which he agrees to, and then when shit hits the fan, you know, we come to realize that really the only way to get past something like this, truly, 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 without any regrets in life, is to make it count. Again, this could have easily been a simple film where a guy punches a guy, another guy goes like, oh shit, I'll get you back next time, and then we see the end goal at the film, right? We get the conclusion that we may or may not have wanted at the end of the film. But what this film brought is a simple idea. Men, for all their intensive purposes, for everything that we have gone through in the grand legacy of time, for all the jobs and the skills and the adaptations that we as people have learned to accept, one fact will always remain. If you mess with family, if you mess with a man's family, you will see the consequences. So where does that come from? And how can we justify going above and beyond to leave a statement, to make sure somebody has been heard? You tell me. Because as much as I wouldn't like to admit it, or maybe we'll figure out, men have been oppressed, objectified. And I know everyone's gonna be like, this guy. But simply put, just generally speaking, and with all peace and understanding that you can muster, realize that every man has gone through anger. Realize that every man that has had to develop testosterone has had to process these emotions, and either they come out as a complete person able to control the beast inside of them, or you lose all control and you become the animal that you know you can be. Now, we're humans. It's within our grand ideals to not punch each other in the face. And we have built a society that benefits the people who do not have that urge or that combative spirit. We work in Dex offices. The highest paid people are fucking PC desktop people, not the guys that are lifting all the fucking stones to build your houses, all the metal blocks and shit. So where do we come, or where do we get out of this? A statement, a question, a belief. It's obvious, easy to note, that things are not the same as they used to be. The ideation or the idea or the hopes or the expectations of what a man is today, I'm gonna be honest, is a very watered down male from where I come from. Where I come from, you learn quickly. You walk into a building, you look for all the exits, you check to see who is whatever's, and you do the math. You know that you can defend yourself at any point against any opponent, because that is what is required of you at that moment. And it's not pretty, and it's not fun. It's not great to walk into a room and immediately start searching for the security cameras, immediately start looking for the doors, immediately start picking out who would be a issue or who has that face. And that is very judgmental, and that is very not great. But it doesn't have to be that always, right? There is a sense of pride. There is a sense of responsibility. If I couldn't protect myself, how could I even phantom protecting my family or even fucking giving birth to a child? What kind of right would I have if I wouldn't be able to protect that little one? So what is the role of a man? What is a man? When you remove all these laws we have put, when you put two people in a room that have nothing left to say, what has been done has been done. Now is the consequences, the time to act. Because if I'm being honest, when those punches start flying, when we see the accumulation of every emotion that has happened so far, and we put all of that in the ring between two men, you bet your ass that gets the testosterone going. And damn it, it's easy to let that go. It's easy to touch that wall and ignore everything else if you don't have that control. So what we see here in this film is a man that has had to go through all that emotion, all that adrenaline, has had time to process it, and doing his best to avoid tapping into that personality or that drive until it is absolutely needed. We are warriors. We are hunters. We all have that capacity to become that animal. but we hold back. And whether we do that for love, or whether we have been oppressed enough to not even show emotions as a man, as a male, as a threat, that's the question I want to ask. What is the purpose of a man when he no longer feels like he can express himself? And thank God, his wife realized that. So, it's easy to be a person to be like, I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna get it done because it's for me and I know who I want to be. But albeit, when you accept someone into your circle and when you two decide to grow as a family, then it's no longer about me. And every man knows that. Every man realizes that eventually I will have to put a lid on this and focus on everyone else. And you might be right in saying that perhaps there isn't enough good men, good, dependable, honest men giving us those examples in our current timeline. So where are they? Well, start asking questions. We'll find out. With that being said, the fight scenes that happen in this, that choreography, and by the time we get to that final fight, everything is on the line. Not just the title, not just the money to give my family a better future, but every raw, angry emotion that was left on the table is used to conquer the situation. And goddamn, when you know what's happening, when you understand the weight behind every punch, the emotional weight behind every punch, goddamn, that is what a real man. That's a man. So hey, don't get too worried, okay? Like, we're good. Most men are chill enough to be like, yeah, well, maybe I don't want to be an asshole today. And we've understood that. So ladies, you are hopefully in a better position now than we have been, I don't know, are we still hanging out with the bears? You tell me what's going on. But just know that deep inside us, there is an animal that is very, very aware and very ready to attack. But it is a man's responsibility to work with that, to think about that, to understand those emotions and reserve them for what matters most. Beast, 2026. Pretty damn good film. I'm gonna say Russell Crowe brings it together. Luke, the brother of Chris, he has a certain, he puts his soul into this. I won't say he's the best actor in the world, but he puts enough emotion into what's physical prowess and physical emotion into what's happening that you have no problem believing every line that comes out of his mouth. And that, put it in a story and layered with emotional beats and a goddamn good climactic bout, what more can you ask for? But hey, more is available. Because it's not always so simple. I didn't know what we were gonna get into. I just saw a poster. It kind of looked like a thriller, and I was very curious. So I got my ticket, I walked in and I sat down, and this film called Newborn. It's heavy, man. It's heavy. Our judicial system is perhaps one of the most volatile situations that we have in America, right? Let's just start there. Because while you would like to believe that the law, the state, the government, the police department, the federal workers are all here for you to serve the public, to protect and serve the community. We'd all love to believe that, right? And maybe some of my white friends out there might be like, oh yeah, we're safe. Sorry guys, don't worry about it. We'll get into it. But there's a reason we walk into a room and we check the perimeter. There's a reason we walk down an alley and you give yourself the... And there's a reason why I never leave home without it. So who taught him this? Why is it necessary? Life. Life taught me that. You know, it wasn't always happy times. It wasn't always go be a kid somewhere. It was, hey, if you go out to this part, things might happen. Don't go there. You see that group over there? Don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. And at any point, one could have made a choice to go, hey man, I'm looking for some companionship. I'm trying to meet new people. What's up, my dog? What's going on? Hey, let's fucking chill out. What's going, bro? And that simple truth always hangs in the back of my mind, because even from a young age, I had the foresight to understand what those people did, why they did it, and to get all that information and realize it wasn't worth it. But many other people don't have that luxury. They don't have that sense of pride where it comes to, hey, I don't have to throw myself at the feet of others just to feel accepted. They don't have that sense of in future acknowledgement to be like, hey, if I start drinking this or if I start smoking this, it's gonna become a problem later on, or it might grow into a bigger problem if I'm not careful. And unfortunately, there are many, I'll say many races, many colored people, many, there's white people too, sure, of course, but there's many people out there who are seen as those type of people just because of how they look, how they might act, how they might present themselves. And again, is it judgment? Is it like bad to have these opinions before they've even said anything? Perhaps, but again, it's a case by case, and you will only know that if you have put in the time to try to understand people and why they are talking to you. So when we get this gentleman who has been arrested for a crime he didn't commit, but yes, a crime he covered for. It's his little brother, and he wanted to cover the crime for his little bro. So he took that responsibility, and it cost him 10 years in prison. Not because that was the final verdict, but because in jail itself, when another colored person was being beaten to the point of death, he steps in and tries to do something about it. Obviously, that is frowned upon in the prison system, and his punishment as it is becomes isolation. It's a lot, I know, it's all a buildup, but this is where it gets to the important part, to the hard part. 10 years in a box, no visits, no conversations, no cellmates, isolation for 10 years. What does that do to a human being? I won't say man, it's general. He is a man, but it's general. What does that do to a human being? And how much worse is it when you know you have a wife and a child that you have left behind? I can't even begin to fathom what sort of thoughts might be going through a father's brain when he sees his son 10 years later and doesn't even know what his favorite food is. I can't. It's almost illogical. It's almost like there's no way that should be allowed. But thanks to the judicial system, thanks to not great neighborhoods and environments that have dragged these communities into the hell, the dirt, the hole that they themselves have created, we know there's a lot of people out there that have been put through the ringer unjustly just to no longer be part of society. And that has to be one of the hardest things to digest when you walk out those doors and you're reintroduced into human civilization. How do you put yourself back together when you haven't had an interaction in 10 years? And that's what this film tries to investigate. This man has came back. His wife has been able to get him out of released and out of pleading insanity or something like that. And now his son is finally spending time with his father. And it's great. You know, it looks good. It's nice to show that role model. You see the father come out and he's going through things, but whenever he's with the son, he's like, hey, come on, buddy, I got you. Like he's doing what he can to be there, to make up for the time that he lost. So what if after those 10 years of no communication, there were issues that perhaps, maybe, somebody out there might be trying to throw him back in the cell. And that's where this movie begins. Again, it's not great to walk into a room and have to run down the checklist out of habit. It's not something that we choose to do. It's almost like a second nature because we are so used to doing it. But we do it. And I've learned to accept that. I've learned to take that as a positive rather than to beat myself over the head as to why do I do this. I've put in the work, and I can only hope that it benefits somebody or my family in future years. So I won't stop. I'll keep on honing that skill, and I'll keep on being ready to protect. So what would happen if I was finally able to touch base with my son and things are going well, and then out of nowhere, the law keeps on walking by. Things keep on happening. The paranoia sets in of, I don't know these people. I don't know this, my wife, this son that I'm trying to understand. I can only hope he's not disappointed in who I've become. And who the fuck is that white guy that keeps on popping in by our driveway? It sucks, because you could really lose your mind stressing out about the details. And I'm not gonna lie, I was with him for a cool minute. And that's not something that I'm super proud of, but I understand why we got there. And that's the most important part. Because once everything has been laid out, once all the threats are exposed, we get to see how on the spot or how misconceptioned we were. It's good. It's a bit of a ride, because as a male, I can only imagine what it's like to think, holy shit, my son's life is in danger. And if I don't do something about this right now, I may not have a family. That's serious shit right there. And without spoiling too much, it gets even more serious. So, this is exclusive to AMC. I don't know why that is. I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's because this is a very delicate film that has to do with colored people and your judicial system and mental health. It's a very delicate film if you choose to respect it. And damn it, I respect the hell out of it. Now you might be thinking, great, it's not looking good. Men, that's 2 for 2. We're not doing so hot in this moment, you know, in this generation. But I will say that the way that we wrap things up in this, it makes me feel hope, right? We've been through the Disney movies. We've seen how shitty men have been portrayed in those family films, in Disney, on TV, and just how much of a joke we have been treated as. And it doesn't offend me per se. It's just more of a, you guys are only hurting yourselves. Because when shit hits the fan and there's no bear to protect you, it's fine. I get it. The government will take care of you. Yeah, sure. But again, a man loves. A man feels. And if it's not taken care of, if it's not shared, then that same protection can become dangerous. This is why communication is important. But definitely check it out. It's worth the gander, I would say. And it's exclusive to AMC, so I don't really know what that means, but if that means that you guys are more than willing to drive out to AMC, hey, you won this place in my heart. So, and heart, so yes. So yes. Newborn, 2026 was a thinker for me. I really, I saw this film and I was like, damn son, I feel that. So I would recommend something like this. It's definitely more of it's less of a horror thing and more of a like, oh shoot, what's going on, like suspenseful thriller type of deal. So you don't have to be afraid of what's happening, but you have to be concerned about why it's happening. And honestly, it's done very, very well. There's notes within the film that will explain things, but that reveal towards the end is really what puts everything into perspective. So go check it out. I'd highly recommend it. Gomennasai. Because home, ladies and gentlemen, home is where the heart is. Or so I've heard. But what happens? What happens when home is underwater? Woo! So there's a animated film called Chao. It's being distributed by 4Kids, so we know it has heart and potential behind it. What I don't know is where it comes from, as in this story takes place in Shanghai, but everyone speaks Japanese through the film, and the animation design is very non-traditional Japanese animation, so I can only assume it's like a Chinese style animation, right? So we'll start with that, okay? We're trying to piece this together. This is a Chinese culture with Chinese themes, and the story happens. In a world where men and merfolk have been divided, but understanding that they both have to make it work somehow, there's a young gentleman who is trying to make it happen. We all know the story. We all know. It's like, listen, dude, I have a college degree, but ain't no fucking AI bot reading my resume with enough care to actually give me the job that I'm looking for. But things rapidly change when our young princess, yes, she's a giant fish, arrives in land and is immediately smitten by this guy. Right away, you might be like, who is this guy? Why him? The story will get there. But for now, let's try to understand this. A gentleman who is focused with business, career, development. He's a sort of engineer, so you can tell he's very good with his hands, and he likes to build things, and he likes to create, and his goal is to create a skyship. What is a skyship? You know how we have boats? Well, those boats have propellers that spin. And in the world where merfolk and humans are supposed to coexist, if a boat were to get a merfolk or the fish or any type of aquatic life, we start having problems. So it's almost commendable that this young gentleman is like, yeah, I'm gonna build a boat that doesn't have a propeller, and it uses the seawater and its turbine currents just to propel itself. No blades, no fans, no hurt sea fish people. Hire me. And it's when she comes to land and goes like, hey, I like you, we should get married, that finally things start happening for him. And it's very obvious why. You know, his boss, this big rotund CEO, we'll call him, is like, hey, like, you know, the same guy that would have not paid attention to him for years is like, hey, come join the board. You can be my new right-hand guy, and put in a good word to that princess for me, will you? So again, I don't know if that's a Chinese thing to do. Again, I'm being very delicate with what I'm saying because I'm not that knowledgeable in that type of deal. But you see people go like, hey, what about me? Hey, what about me? It's like, okay. Which again is not a big deal if you can give to people, you know, if you have enough in your life to share, then hell yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're stressed out because this random fish person is trying to make out / marry you, and all you want to do is build this damn boat, it gets a little stressful, right? It becomes a balance between what is my career and then what is my future with this fish thing person. And that's where the shenanigans ensue. Somebody mentioned that this was like essentially like an adult version of Ponyo. I've never seen Ponyo, but I can kind of piece together that the boy finds a fish, blah, 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 blah. Sure, we'll say it's something like that. We get the introduction of a fish person. We see the universe of the fishes a bit, right? We don't get to go deep dive into it, but we see them come to us and we see how that can become something in the future. If they would learn how to interact more socially, then perhaps you'd be able to see a world of fish folk and humans living peacefully. And that's where this all hangs. If this guy can muster the courage to marry this fish woman, then technically we have peace between two nations, and it would be the beginning of a new era, right? And again, that's another pressure plate to put on top of his stress. I really like this film, like a lot. It's very simple in the way that everything is laid out in front of you. It's very simple in the way that this fish girl is just enamored by the guy. There's no denying that he will have a good future with her if he can just bring himself to accept the situation. The fact that his wife is now giving him like raw eels and has a knack for kind of being rambunctious in a very ditzy, like, tenanda yo way, is a little concerning. Because again, it's like, kid, I'm about to accept you into my life, and now my oven is on fire. What happened? And it's cute, and it's stressful, and it tests you in a way that just how much stress can one man really handle? And is this what marriage is all about? So that's not it. There's a lot to look into it. I think it's very cute. I think there's a lot of lessons that we can learn from this. Obviously, the merfolk can just be replaced by any outside race, and just the idea of how much are we willing to accept even if it doesn't directly represent our culture. And it's a nice moment, right? Right off the bat, you'll know that he's not the greatest person ever. He isn't, and that's fine. He doesn't have to be perfect man 5000, but his flaws are there for a reason. His flaws are represented, and due to what a story does, he has time to grow. And watching this young man grow into a confident, assured mission-oriented man was a sight to see. There's a bunch of fun characters. There's really cute animations. Again, it's not Japanese styled, but it does enough. The reason I like Science Saru, which are the guys that animated Dan Dan Dan, is because they break the status social norm of animation, and they go beyond the boundaries of exaggeration, and they bring these big spectacle moments, because even though it looks absurd, the universe has decided that this is what it is, and you learn to accept it. And that right there is beautiful in its own right. So to see their journey start from strangers to understanding, to acceptance, to understanding, and to a deep, deep desire of connection. It's a damn good film. Now, you layer some Chinese antics that, again, I'm not super used to, but when you start throwing in the kung fu romantic couple starts fighting each other, that's like, all right, I can see why you can believe that the most, even the main character throws a punch here and there. So I see why you can believe that in this universe, even most people have just a small amount of skill when it comes to self-defense. So that's what it's all about, man. Who's gonna protect your wife? The police? Get the fuck out of here. So definitely, it's very unique in its themes and the way it's trying to present them, and it doesn't shy away from the pain, the fear of the unknown becoming known, the desire to detach yourself from this situation because you still want to preserve the person you believe you want to be. And that's fine, but when life comes at you and when they ask you a direct question, it's either I do or I don't. And seeing that come into full circle and seeing what they finish up and seeing how that end goal took effort, but it was damn worth it. So I'm a sucker for love stories. I really am. I can't help it. I'd like to believe that there's more love in this universe than there is hate. Obviously, we've seen things contrary to that in this past generations, but I just choose to believe that if there is a man and a woman that have decided to understand each other and share each other's moments, then I do believe together they can create a better future. Not through them, but through their offspring, through their future children. Because at the end of the day, we won't be there for them. As a man, as a father, as a physical representation, we won't always be there. But every lesson we give them, every moment we are able to share, can become that memory that saves them, that brings them some closure, that helps them process the universe and all its negativity when it comes for them. Because it will come for them. And there's no denying it, there's no avoiding it. But what we can do is arm our children with the knowledge to be better. And that's what I choose to believe. I don't know if it will ever happen to me, because, you know, I'm just a guy living life. But if and when I am able to love a tiny human being, I know that my life no longer has value, because my life will be dedicated to that bundle in my arms. And that's what I choose to believe is our purpose. A father's love is a damn powerful thing. Yes, it can destroy. Yes, it can be destructive. But if there is understanding, if there's a willing to accept and grow, then there is a future we can believe in. So, ladies, yeah, we're a little aggressive. We've had to learn that. They say that a man can only really be a man when a feminine presence is available. What does that mean? It means that if you build it, he will come. It means that if you're willing to tap into that feminine side, then the masculine side is drawn out by force, by gravitational force. It is the yin and the yang. And if we just understood that a bit more, if we were able to maybe not ascertain roles, but understand why those roles naturally are accepted naturally through genetics or through brain structure or chemical balances, then yeah, why not? It's not easy. Nothing really is. Nothing that is worth it is. But we owe it. We owe it to our children, to our fathers, to our mothers, to our daughters. We owe it to our families to understand who we are and what we can do, what is being asked of us in a healthy conversation as to what we can accomplish. At least that's what I like to believe. But hey, I'm just a guy that likes watching movies and rides a motorcycle on the weekends. So, if you like that, if you enjoy this, and if you want to hang out, be cool, definitely recommend watching the films that we talked about today. It is easy to just, movies come and go. That's just the way it is. But in those small moments of life where I'm sitting in a dark room and just experiencing life coming at me through another person's perspective, that's when I feel like I'm learning the most. So if you like that, if you like this, hit that like, subscribbles, and I'll catch you all on the next time. Thanks for watching. Ciao. Matane.